The Troubles of Northern Ireland and Street Art in Northern Ireland. The Troubles of Northern Ireland describes the period of time from around the 1960s to the late 90s when Northern Ireland was at war within itself, engaged in a conflict that stemmed from outside forces. Britain took control of Ireland in the 1600s, stripping the native Irish of their land and replacing them with British Protestant colonists. In 1921, the island was officially partitioned into Southern Ireland, a free state uncontrolled by Britain, and Northern Ireland, which was still under British rule. As a result, two communities and identities emerged: Republican Catholics in favor of a united Ireland independent of England, and Loyalist Protestants who wanted to remain a part of the UK and keep the Protestant ascendancy alive. And a civil war ensued. Throughout the Troubles, thousands died, including civilians, due to the violence between the Irish Republican Army and the Ulster Volunteer Force and many other key players. Through it all, art became a way of expressing these conflicts, and the pieces created during those tumultuous times still stand as remnants of the past and lessons for the future. The role of art. In Ireland, art has been an important platform for the community to share stories and propaganda. In working-class areas such as the Shankill Road and Falls Road, neighborhoods separated by politics and religion, buildings were covered in vibrant and violent depictions as a way to express messages through a medium that needed no verbal or written explanation. What might be the enemy of one mural could be the hero of a mural a few blocks down the road. Driving down Belfast today, the buildings might seem out of place, but street art is still, in fact, a popular medium. Ireland's modern street art scene is now a popular tourist attraction. An art form that was once frowned upon has now been warmly embraced by the masses, an era of street art festivals. This mural was painted in 1889 on the 25th anniversary of the Lindsay Street Arch, depicting William of Orange's victory in the Battle of the Boyne against King James II of England in 1960. William of Orange is considered a hero in the Protestant Loyalist Unionist community, and the Battle of the Boyne solidified the Protestant ascendancy in Northern Ireland and defeated the hope that James II tried to bring by creating a Catholic army to fight for freedom. Today, the Protestant Loyalist Unionist community still marches in Catholic neighborhoods, some of the poorest in Northern Ireland, on July 12th to commemorate the battle and remember its history. This mural continues to be repainted over the years, perhaps a message from Loyalists to the rest of the community that victory cannot be tarnished and its significance will not fade. While the time period of its origin of this mural is unknown, the time period being portrayed is clear. This mural depicts a scene from the 19th century, a time when hedge schools were popping up in the face of discrimination. In the early 19th century, the British Crown enacted penal laws in Northern Ireland, which barred the Catholic Church from sponsoring schools and education in general. As a way around this, Irish Catholics began what are known as hedge schools. These were informal and illegal meetings set up to teach the Irish children a proper Catholic education. In addition to the historical scene, this mural brings in the modern Republican agenda. Over recent years, there has been an influx of support in Northern Ireland for the education of the Irish language. The title of this mural, also the title of a popular song, means "Speak the Irish Language." Historically, there has been efforts to push out the language. However, political parties like Sinn Féin have provided a stance of support for the cause. This is a mural of a housing terrace stating, "You are now entering free Derry." This mural was painted on October 5th, 1968 by a Republican civil rights demonstrator. It was created as a response to Bloody Sunday, when the protesting of systemic housing and voting discrimination against Catholics led to violent conflicts and a massacre against innocent Irish citizens. The official name is Londonderry. However, the name Derry is preferred by nationalists, and it is broadly used throughout Northern Ireland's Catholic community, whereas many Unionists prefer Londonderry. Danny Devaney is one of the most iconic Northern Ireland muralists that have graced the region with political visions. Perhaps his most recognizable murals is depicting Bobby Sands. Bobby Sands had become a martyr of the Troubles through his participation in the 1981 hunger strikes. He was an alleged member of the IRA and imprisoned in one of the most infamous jail blocks during the Troubles, each block. During his time, he participated in protests that saw the refusal of uniforms and the demand to be treated like a political prisoner of war. When that failed, he proposed and eventually became the first man to go on a hunger strike. It was during this time that he was also elected a member of parliament. Hunger strikes had been attempted before, but Sands was determined to stand by his protest until he was given his demands or he died of starvation. With Britain's firm no negotiating with terrorists stance, Sands died. He was the first of 10 men who followed who followed in his steps. It is the martyrdom of people like Sands that brought the Irish Republican community together. This mural is a reminder of that solidarity between Sands and his community. This Republican mural in the neighborhood of Ballymurphy memorializes members of the QAnon women's paramilitary group. Women played important roles throughout the Troubles and still today. During times of upheaval, women were crucial in keeping families together through tragedy and death. Women in the church supported their communities through the fighting, and many women secretly supported the men that were doing the fighting. Women were involved in the conflict directly and indirectly, as portrayed in this mural of the female paramilitary group, and were also involved in the politics and protesting, as showcased by Bernadette Devlin, a famous Republican activist who began protesting young and ultimately sat on Parliament and continues to speak out about the injustice of the Troubles and the need for the British to account for their role in it. Many people in Ireland believe the murders and atrocities committed by paramilitaries, specifically the Ulster Volunteer Force, were backed and supported by the British Army and the Royal Ulster Constabulary, which are meant to be the law enforcement officials in Ireland. These claims have been shot down and negated, but never truly investigated properly, leaving families all across Northern Ireland without answers as to why their innocent loved ones were murdered. It was expected that if you or someone you loved were fighting in the Provisional IRA, there was a large chance for danger and death, but it was innocent civilians who were killed in cold blood by paramilitaries, suspected of having informants connected to the police, that were never given justice. This collusion only furthers the point that in order for Northern Ireland to achieve peace and justice, there must be responsibility taken by the British and by the state for their role in the horrors of the Troubles and beyond. As the time of peace continues and the Troubles begin to fade with each passing generation, the street art of Northern Ireland shifts as well. Murals are becoming increasingly concerned with pop culture and social issues. One of those issues deals with basic LGBTQ+ rights. Northern Ireland is the only country in the United Kingdom that does not legally recognize same-sex marriage. This is particularly interesting due to the history of LGBTQ+ rights in the country. Northern Ireland has had decriminalized homosexuality and enacted civil unions years before the Republic of Ireland. Despite this, same-sex marriage has remained a dream for those living in the North. The main opposition has come from the majority-ruling Democratic Unionist Party and its colleagues within the government of Northern Ireland. Work is still being done by activists with the support of the minority-ruling party of Sinn Féin, as well as other pro-LGBTQ rights. As Northern Ireland continues to pick up the pieces from the Troubles, the history still plagues its citizens. Today, Northern Ireland has the highest suicide rate in the UK, according to a report in 2015 from Ulster University. Mental health is the battle Northern Ireland faces now, as its generations continue with the memories of the conflict and the feelings of loss and oppression. Generational murals like those that depict the Troubles are beginning to share the country with pop culture art from the Arts Council of Northern Ireland, and pop culture and newer generational social issues have begun to take a more prominent role in the street art in Northern Ireland. Reservations and opinions from all sides of the conflict will never completely fade, and they will always have a place in the arts culture of Northern Ireland. Sources. Thank you.